Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time wherever you are watching from. My name is Chamaka and I am an ERP functional consultant. And welcome to day three of the introduction to Dynamics 365 sales training brought to you by Dynamics 365 Niger User Group. Please let us know where you are watching us from. Please put that down in the comment section. And yes, we'd like to get to know you and get to know where everyone is tuned in from. Okay, so while we have that coming up, of course, some jokes, let us just get some jokes so that we can lighten up the atmosphere and get ready into it. Okay. I'm not exactly sure why my jokes are not coming up. Okay, of course, that's also a joke on its own way, in its own way. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for joining. Please don't forget to put down where you are joining us from in the comment section. And so for the past 2 days, we have had a wonderful time delving into the world of Dynamics 365 sales, understanding how it enables salespeople to build strong relationships with their customers and learning to take actions based on insights and closing these deals faster. I bet you that closing deals fast is like the holy grail for every salesperson, and Dynamics 365 sales has that on lockdown for you. So on the very first day, we had Omolola MVP show us the business applications before delving deep down into the CRM part, which is Dynamics 365 sales. She also went on to show us how to set up a trial environment from trials.dynamics.com. Now, this is quite important for us to be able to have more practical on hand trials of this system. You get to learn more even after the session has ended. You also get to experiment some of the things that you've learned from this 3 days training. So it's important. The URL is trials.dynamics.com. It is going to be scrolling through this it's going to be scrolling through the screen at intervals so that you can pick that up in case you have not been able to set up a trial environment yet. Also, yesterday we had Foyin MVP as well. She showed us how to manage our leads, contacts, our accounts, opportunities as well yesterday. In fact, I learned a whole lot, even as an ERP consultant. I learned a whole lot. And today we will be diving into an overview of Dynamics 365 sales forecasting. It's important for organizations to be able to accurately forecast their sales targets, and that way they're able to truly understand their business health, because it's not just doing business, but also getting to know what your business looks like, so that if there's need for these businesses to take actions, they are able to take those actions at the speed of light and be able to make informed decisions. So today to be taking us through the world of Dynamics 365 sales forecasting, we have Mr. Temitokwe Koya. Mr. Temitokwe Koya, please join us here. Thank you. It's nice to have you here, sir. Welcome.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from everywhere you're joining us today. Thank you, Chamaka. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Very well, very well. So, how's it been?
It's been a good week, winding down for the week. It's a fight. Thanks.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so are you all ready to learn forecast today? And I think before we go further, Chiamaka, I know you're an ERP consultant, right? And I know that ERP consultants have faced a lot of requests from different C-level executives, from CIOs, CEOs, CFOs, especially. They would have asked you, does Dynamics 365 sales have forecasting? And does Dynamics 365 ERP have forecasting? What can you say about forecast? From the way you perceive that a lot of these C-level executives want to know about forecast.
So I would say that forecast, because the people asking for this thing is that they want to know how their business is faring. They
Mm.
want to be able to know what the health is like, what their cash flow is like, what their basically how this business has been, and they are only able to do that based on um what's it called, trends, history,
Mhm.
based on the data they have available, they've been able to collect over time. So, and they say data is king. With data you are able to make more informed decisions. You know when to make demands for items, what quantity, based on for that, this is for manufacturing companies. You're able to plan accordingly, once you have this information. So it is key to the C-level executive. They want to be able to make these decisions at the speed of life. They want to be able to have this data that drives them to make more
Real
informed,
time data to be able to
exactly,
have
real-time data to be
informed
able to
decision.
make, exactly, to make these informed decisions. Yes.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, thank you very much. I think you are very spot on, and I think you really explained the essence and benefit from a C level executive aspect. So today we'll just quickly be looking at sales forecast. I'll be doing some introduction. So let's look at the agenda, right? Okay. So for the agenda today, we'll do some brief introduction. Chamaka has told us what our experience has been from people's demand and expectation of what a forecast should be, right? So we'll be going through introduction. We'll talk about what are the requirements from a licensing standpoint, from a role, because Dynamics is a role-centric application. We'll also be looking at the steps to configure forecast in Dynamics 365 and what are the configuration that you need to put in place and how you need to configure them in the system. We'll also be talking about the forecast templates and how to use predictive forecasting in the system. Then we'll quickly look at a deep dive demo right today. So let's look at the introduction. Um, Okay. So talking about introduction to forecasting, right? Forecasting just talks about being able to predict the future, being able to predict the revenue your company is going to make in maybe in XY period, maybe in the next 5 years, in the next few months, like in the next quarter or in the end at the end of the year, or you want to be able to see it from a demand aspect, from a demand perspective. You want to be able to have a demand forecast to be able to say, oh, okay, in the next 3 months, we need to supply 40 tons of this products, right? And to be able to meet up with your 40 tons of that product, you need to start planning today. You need to get your bill of material today. You need to get all those things ready and you need to put them into your production cycle to be able to produce those things. So, what does forecast just simply talk about? It talks about being able to predict, to be able to meet with the revenue demand of your business and stay in line within a time frame. So how do you use forecast, and from a what angle, it helps you to be able to track the performance against your target. So for instance, at the beginning of every year, you find a lot of business setting targets, organizational targets to be able to meet the demand and the expectations of the business, and they can be able to mitigate what are the risks within that time frame. And with at every review, they can be able to tell, oh, we are meeting our demand or we are meeting our goals and objectives or we are meeting our tasks, our deadlines, and we are able to meet them and all set new strategies to be able to mitigate those risks and do better. So also talking about from a standpoint of being able to track the performance of sales agents. So every sales agent, even looking at their targets, they can be able to track those things and be able to meet those demand and be able to ensure that they don't jeopardize their ability to meet those targets. Every manager can also leverage this forecast to be able to identify the effort of the salesperson, to be able to also determine whether they need to help in any form, either from a coaching standpoint or being able to leverage another effort or another sales rep to be able to meet those goals and objectives that they have set within the business time frame. Also, from a director standpoint, a director can be able to anticipate, whether it needs to get in more strategies, more assistance, more help to be able to enable them to meet those quotas or those targets that they have set within the time frame or within the year. And from an organizational leader, you want to be able to project what your revenue would be. From a CFO standpoint, you want to be able to project what the revenue will be to be able to meet this demand or the expenditure demand of the business. So all those things are what you need to understand, and these are the benefits of forecast in every business. And leveraging forecast in Dynamics 365 will help your business to stand strong. Talking about licensing and role, you want to be able to know what are the requirements to be able to deliver forecast in a business using Dynamics 365 for sales. From a licensing standpoint, you need Dynamics 365 for sales premium license or a Dynamics 365 for sales enterprise license. From a role standpoint, you're either going to assign a role of a forecast manager or a system administrator. So when you assign these roles to your users, they can be able to leverage the system because the system is role centric. So let's quickly move forward to what we talk about. The next slide, we'll be talking about the steps to configure forecast. So if you look at the steps to configure forecast, right, you'll be talking about the first one. You need to log into the application, and in logging to the application, you need to be able to tell that in my application, I've been able to identify my sales hub. The next thing is go to the next what we call the app settings. So on the app settings, I can be able to tell under my performance management module, I can be able to see what my what's it called, my target, my forecast configuration tab is. On the click of that, I can be able to, quickly what's it called, quickly call up the forecast module and start to configure the forecast module. So all this you'll be doing with the system, and you can quickly, move into the next phase. That's what we call the configure the forecast. So in configuring forecast, you can be able to start setting up based on the template you want to use. We have different templates in the system. We have the organizational chart, we have the product chart, we have also what we call the territory chart and the custom template. So you can use this template to be able to address those forecast configuration you want to do. So moving to the definition of the forecast, you need to give it a name. You need to define your roll-ups, your roll-up entity, your hierarchy entity, the relationship between your roll-up entity and your hierarchy entity, and you need to schedule the time frame. We'll be looking at that in the demo I'll be showing you very soon. Also talking about assets and permission, you want to be able to define who are the owners who have access to that forecast that you have built. Who do you want to share with? When you share with them, can they read and adjust? Can they do anything? You can define all that within the system. Also talking from an angle of when you want to be able to tell of other out of the box features that you have, you can also configure the layout of that template you have chosen, whether what fields should be in those templates. Do you want to add custom fields and the like? Then once you are done, you can now activate this forecast. When you activate the forecast, you can upload the threshold. We have what we call quotas. Quotas are like targets, and with those quotas, you can be able to move within the time frame that you have defined to be able to track the performance of your salesperson. Moving to what are the SS or what are the things you need to configure in forecast. In terms of configuring forecast, you need to bear in mind what is your base entity, what your entity that you are trying to use. And this is driven more when you are talking about, am I looking at my forecast from a revenue standpoint, or am I looking at my forecast from a maybe demand standpoint? In terms of demand, you can be looking at it from a quantity standpoint. What quantity of this product or item do I need to manufacture or produce to meet up my demand forecast? You want to be able to look at what numbers of sales do I want to make so that I can meet up with this revenue that I need within my business. In this bit, you also need to be able to define what your roll-up entity is. Now, your roll-up entity, in terms of from revenue standpoint, you want to be looking at the opportunity. My colleague for you showed us how to leverage opportunity. That also has shown us from an opportunity standpoint. You want to be able to track your pipeline. You want to be able to see how you are quickly moving within your pipeline to close deals. You want to be able to see all that within the system. In hierarchy, you want to be able to see what you see in hierarchy. You want to be able to see, are you looking at it from a reporting line standpoint, or a product standpoint, or a territory standpoint? So all those things you have within that forecast, and you want to be able to define the time frame in that forecast. So to moving forward to the things that you need to know in delivering a forecast, right? You want to be able to tell what template you want to use. So in terms of your template, you want to be able to look at, am I using revenue template? Am I using the sales, the product template, or am I using territory template? So in terms of territory template, you want to be able to look at it from um, whether a region, or you want to be look at it from different things. So from the organization chart forecast, in organization chart forecast, you want to be looking at it from a reporting line standpoint. Who am I reporting to? How does my target, my target that I meet, how do they roll up to the target of my boss? How does my boss target roll up to the organizational goal? So that's what we call organizational chart, and that reports from that tree. In terms of product, you also want to look at it from a product standpoint. How does the product hierarchy come from? You want to be able to look at that also. From territory standpoint, you want to look at every region, every territory. How does all the sales rep within that territory, how does it report into the forecast for that period or that time frame that you have defined? So all these are the kind of templates you can use, and how you can use them to be able to drive forecasts within the system. In terms of predictive forecasting, a lot of people want to be able to leverage predictive forecasting. And what predictive forecast just talks about is, from your historical data that you have in the system. The system can use the inbuilt AI model that Microsoft have embedded in Microsoft Dynamics 365 for sales, to be able to look at this forecast, and be able to tell you from your trends, to be able to predict what maybe your turnaround sales within a year, or within that time frame that you have defined, what it will look like. You also want to be able to see maybe your demand forecast, what it will look like within a time frame. So the solution uses the inbuilt AI, revenue, to be able to use your historical data to be able to tell you what the next predictions within your business can give you with the data you have in the system. So moving forward, we'll be looking at a brief demo. From that brief demo, I'll be showing you how to leverage Dynamics 365 for sales forecast, and how you can quickly make do of what you have in the system. But before we do we have any question, right,
Thank you
Jamaka?
very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Koya, for that brief introduction to forecasting. In fact, I have learned a whole lot right now just within these few minutes. And guys, you can always drop your questions in the comment section and we can take them. For now, we do not have anyone. So, Mr. Koya, trying to sum up everything that you have mentioned now, the importance of forecasting is that it allows an organization to predict how much revenue the sales team will be making or will be able to generate within a time frame, and also to know the demand of the items that they are selling, and also to let them to prepare accordingly for this sales that they will be making eventually. You've also mentioned that sellers. So that forecasting is also role centric. It depends on who is who and what who is who in an organization to see what the forecast looks like. Thank you very much for this insights to this. And before we continue, just a quick break, just a very, very short break for us to catch our breaths, Mr. Koya, to have a drink of water, and then we can dive right back into it. Okay, guys, welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for joining us so far. This is day three of the introduction to Dynamics 365 training brought to you by Dynamics 365 User Group Nigeria. And today we're discussing Dynamics 365 sales forecasting. And with me in the house, I have Mr. Temitope Koya, who is a seasoned techno-functional consultant. So far, he has shown us what a brief introduction to sales forecasting, and now we'll be going on to show us a brief demo on how to use this sales forecasting. Over to you, Mr. Koya.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's quickly look at what we've talked about so far. I'll be showing you forecast from an organization chart standpoint, right? I'll be using the organization chart template to walk you through forecast. So definitely, I'll be leveraging more on my opportunity entity, right? Because my colleagues started from opportunity, and I understand that a lot of us will understand what opportunity means today. So from opportunities, right? As a sales representative, I'll be keying different opportunities within the system. And as I key in different opportunities, there are different opportunities, like what we call, if there are different stages in every opportunity, and those stages would also define what the forecast will look like. I would want us to bear in mind, what we have here, what we call the forecast category. Now, within the forecast category, I have an option set. I have pipeline, best case, committed, omitted, won, and lost. So this is typically what will drive the forecast that I'll be using. And there's a kind of automation behind this. Based on the different stages or different cycles that I am in my opportunity stage. That also would inform my forecast, right? So we have best case. Best case talks about when I have an opportunity and the opportunity is in a talking stage, and it's very warm. I have committed, for instance, maybe I've submitted the proposal, I've submitted a commercial, and I'm in a discussion that is more fruitful, and the customer is likely to buy. For one is when, maybe for instance, the customer has requested for an order, a sales order, and we are moving the conversation to a fulfilled buy. So moving forward, I also would like us to look at what we talk about so far, forecast. I built a template within the system, and I'll be using that template to walk us through how to configure it, because I know we are newbies, and if I want to go deep into it, it might look too technical, but trust me, it is not difficult, right? Believe me, it is not difficult. Some of the beautiful things about this forecast is that every maybe for instance a CFO or a C level that will be leveraging the forecast, can be able to see, maybe drill into those data that they have, at their fingertip, to be able to make those informed decisions. And they can be able to see, what they have to say. Oh, okay, what I have now um, is a combination of this set of opportunities, right? So they can look at it. So this is a drill down functionality. I can have multiple drill down functionality defined if I want, maybe from opportunity to maybe product lines. I can define all that within the forecast I have built, and I can look at it from this angle, right? I can see different reporting lines. So in this case, I have different reporting sales rep to Alan Snyder, right? And I also have other reporting line to Anuela. So all these people that I have here are reporting to different people, and those different people are also reporting to David So. So and David So is the person that has, maybe for instance, maybe the CSO, and the target of the entire group is housed or shouldered by David So. So you can see different sales opportunities that have been tracked in the system, and based on that, we can see our best case. Remember the definition for best case. We have the committed. Remember the definition for committed, the won, the lost, and we have what we call the quota variance. This is a custom field, and I'm going to show you how and what I have done in this bit. In this quota, right? This quota variance is a difference between my quota and one opportunities. That gives me my quota variance. I also have the benefit or the opportunity to be able to switch between different quarters. I have quarter one, quarter two, quarter three. If I want I'm in quarter two now, I want to be able to predict or see what the projection of quarter three will look like. I can be able to quickly forecast for quarter three and quarter four. I also have the opportunity to leverage different currencies, because the system also tracks, you can make transactions in different currencies, and I can be able to see, okay, comparing my sales in dollar today with what the currency of maybe what the pound is saying today, what is the equivalent of those transactions or my forecast as at today. So I can do that, and I'm going to just do a quick one. You can see I've changed this to USD, and everything you have here is showing in USD. And I can also leverage what we call the drill down functionality. Under the drill down functionality, once I click on this, I can see a list of all the opportunities that has given me this what I have here. Okay, so this does not have anything. So let's quickly look at Alan Snyder. There should be some transactions here, some opportunities here. Okay, yes, perfect. So I can see them, and I can see that, okay, it is this opportunity, 10 orders of maybe X product is what is giving me this opportunity that is in the best case position. I can also see what I have that are committed. I have two transactions or two opportunities in the commit stage, and I can also see the ones that are won. And even I can do a quick click on it to have a Kanban view, and expand this Kanban view and quickly see, okay, this as a manager, I can say, oh, okay, this conversation, because I'm privy to it, this conversation should actually not even be in my best case stage. It should actually be in a committed stage, and I can quickly click on it and drag and drop into my committed phase, right? And this would automatically quickly reflect, in my oops, sorry, just a minute. I'm sure it's just trying to do a refresh. So if I look at it, I can quickly see that that would have moved for my best case. You can see I had two transactions in the best case for Alan, and it has moved into my committed stage. So because of I have previous to it, it gives you the flexibility to quickly make adjustments. Sometimes you might have some over ambitious sales rep, who have maybe over committed or over anticipated a deal, and you can quickly look at it and quickly adjust maybe the figures, maybe you can quickly do some quick adjustment into those transactions from the forecast window to be able to have the accurate projections within your business. So we have seen all this, right? Let's quickly look at how you can quickly configure this. So I'm just going to quickly go like from the roadmap I showed you in the slide earlier. We've shown you the sales hub. This is the sales hub where you can see the system. We've looked at the sales, the forecast window. We've talked about the opportunity. Let's quickly look at, the app settings. On the app settings, you can be able, this is where the forecast can be configured. And we said you can go to your performance management session, and quickly look at the forecast, configure forecast. Once you click on this configure forecast, you can see the forecast. These are the different forecasts I have configured in the system. You can see the template forecast. There's a template forecast for newbies, which is in the draft state. You can quickly look at the forecast and learn from it. But you have also template that can quickly help you or guide you to be able to create your own forecast. So we have the organizational chart, we have the product forecast, we have the territory forecast, and we can build forecast from the scratch. For people who are, when I'm sure as a newbie, by the time you start advancing from your learnings, and you can learn how to be able to do some customizations on your own or do some integrations with a line of business applications. You can start leveraging maybe a template that you are building from the scratch, because you must have had some custom fields that are being fed from the integration you have done, and you can be able to define or orchestrate the way you want the flow to be. But that is not for this session today. So let's look at a sample of the forecast I have created. And from what we have, we've talked about being able to define the name of the forecast, right? We have David Organization Forecast for 2023, right? So let's move to the general faster. We talked about the roll-up entity. Our roll-up entity is going to be looking from the opportunity, right? From the opportunity, our hierarchy entity will be looking from the user entity. Now we have what we talk about in terms of roll-up to hierarchy relationship. So that talks about the relationship between your roll-up entity and your hierarchy entity. Now, if you look at it, when I showed you the opportunity the other time, every opportunity that you create will definitely have a owner, and that owner is a relationship to user. So for every user that logs into Microsoft Dynamics 365 for sales, and it's creating an opportunity that opportunity. So your roll up to hierarchy relationship entity talks about the relationship between your owner and your user, and your opportunity and your user, which is the owner user that you have here. So moving forward, you also have the top hierarchy, who is the top person in that hierarchy that you want to have a kind of roll up to, which is David So. And you can see the preview here. You have David So. You can see all the reporting lines for David So on that year, and you can quickly move from there. We also have what we call scheduling. Now, in this scheduling also was introduced. I mean, the advanced scheduling was introduced recently, and it's a very beautiful feature for a lot of businesses who and operate in different calendar, different accounting period or different accounting year or different accounting calendar. They can leverage this fantastic advanced scheduling feature. So some um, calendars start from maybe from July to maybe from July 2023 to June 2020, 2024. You can be able to define your start year or start date of your fiscal year, and the that will also quickly show you what the validity of that fiscal year. So it's valid from when to what. You can define the forecast period, which is quarterly, monthly, or whatever you want. You can define them here. You can also define the fiscal year name, which is FY23 year. You can also tell, so if for instance I have on my forecast period, I have what we call maybe monthly, right? I can define what is the start of my month. Is it the first month or second month, and I can define how many months I want in this period. There's also a very beautiful feature here, what we call the add week. So for instance, if you are using some kind of advanced, maybe you have this kind of maybe 4, 4, 5 weeks. We have maybe for your first month is 4 weeks. Some calendar years give them those flexibility to say my first month should be 4 weeks, my second month, for within every quarter should be 5 weeks, my third month should be 4 weeks. So all those things gives you the flexibility to define all that, and you can add to any week that you see that within that calendar, there's a kind of slight buffer to be able to add additional week to those things. So let's move on to what we call the permissions. So under the permissions, we have how you can define your permission within the system. If you look at what I have here, I have the security rule that I've defined here. I gave it specific users. I can define this specific security rule. Sorry. So those users within those security rules I have selected will have permission to this forecast I have created. So you can see that I've selected my forecast manager security rule, forecast user security rule, system administrator security rule, and I've also defined what kind of access level do they have, right? I define for my forecast manager to have read only access. I've also defined for my forecast user to say read and adjustment access. So you can define it as flexible as you want, you know. Under share forecast, do you want to be able to share this forecast with people, you know, with these people that you have defined in these people that should have access, you know, you can define that, yeah, you know, whether it's a read only to people that you share this forecast with, or you can define whether they should be able to read and adjust this forecast. So that is also in terms of security rule. I spoke about layout earlier. So layout speaks to the I you can select, you know, different fields. I was talking about if you are leveraging customizations. So from a customization standpoint, if you are customizing a custom field on your home, so you can actually search for that field, you know, select that field and select the kind of options within that field that you want to leverage. But because of this demo, I'm using forecast category, right? Within my forecast category, I've picked my quota. Quota will be is more of like a target. You know, I'm going to upload that at the end of this session I'm showing you. I also have predictions. You know, these predictions is system driven. You know, I have this is the AI functionality that the system leverage from your historical data to be able to show you some predictions. I have best case, you know, which I've talked about, committed, one lost, quota variance. I was going to show you quota variance. I said this was a custom one I created myself. I defined the type of field it should be. I defined that it should be a calculated field. I defined the data type. The data type should be currency, and I also talked about the calculations, like the formula that I want to use, which I've said all my quota subtract all the one opportunities from my quota to be able to give me the value that I'll be seeing on my quota variance. So you can do as flexible, you can do a lot of gymnastics, you know, that you want to do here in your layouts to give you the kind of result that you want from your layout. So these are what I've done for this demo, and let's look at filter data. Now, this is a beautiful feature also, but let me just duplicate this tab because I want to show you, I want to compare two things to you. So in this filter data, I did not do any filter in this one, right? But I will show you another one that I did, you know. So let me quickly go to that I added filter. So you can add filters as much as you want and the way you want the filter to be shown. You know, I'm just going to quickly show you one that I added filter to. So I added filter to this. Let's see while it's loading. Let's quickly move to the other one I was talking. So I didn't add any filter, but I can add filter to this. You know, select filter. You know, and define the kind of filter I want. So I expect this should come up. So yeah, if you look at this filter, I've added territory. You know, I have territory also defined, or users mapped, or sales rep mapped to territories within the system. Now those sales reps have mapped to the system. You know, some are in Canada, some are in California, some are in Texas, some are in. So I've said that give me the forecast for all the users or for all the sales reps in California. So it's not going to give me every other sales rep that is not within California. So I can define all these, do different filters that I want, roll off filter, hierarchy filter. I can define them within the system. So, but this is, you know, from the hierarchy that we are using in this demo is from the user hierarchy. You know, if we are using product forecast, the hierarchy will be from the product, you know, and the product will be looking to your opportunity product line. So just bear in mind, I'm sure with some of the material that you start looking at, you'll get yourself acquainted and familiarized with these things I'm also talking about. Moving forward, let's talk about the drill downs. You can also do drill downs. I showed you one drill down in the forecast I did. So let me just switch this to sales so we'll be able to navigate both and quickly have some better understanding to this. So I've defined, you know, drill down. You can do multiple drill downs. You know, you can have multiple drill downs that you want to see. So I've defined the drill downs here. You know, you also want to determine where the amount is looking out from. So I'm looking out from my opportunity line items to give me the amount that I want. and I've also looked at the entity relationship, define the entity relationship that I want. So don't worry, with time you will get acquainted and you really understand this and you will be able to do this on your own. But just see the beautiful features that Dynamics 365 give you in terms of forecasting in Dynamics 365. So moving on to snapshot. So snapshot helps you with predictions also. Looking at it from snapshot. So for instance, I can take a snapshot manually. So you have the opportunity to take one snapshot per day. So if I take a snapshot today, right, I can look at it maybe from a specific period, maybe every mid of a quarter, I can take a snapshot and look at it from quarter one. From mid of quarter one, I took that first snapshot. I can name it, right? Give it a beautiful name that I can remember. At the mid of second quarter two, I can take another snapshot. Mid of quarter three, take another snapshot. With time, I can now start looking at the mid of each of those quarter, how did I perform. So snapshot helps you to be able to take snapshot of those data, if like we call it freezing data, at the moment in time, and you can also use that to do some kind of analysis, trends, visualizations, and define some kind of better strategy to be able to do better in your business. From an advanced standpoint, you want to be able to maybe enable multi-currency feature like I showed you here. You have the multi-currency feature, you can do that also. You want to be able to use Kanban view, which I showed you also. When I clicked on this, I showed you the Kanban view, and this also enables you to do some drag and drop that I showed you, earlier. You want to be able to leverage predictions, which leverage the AI functionality to give you better insights to your business. You can do all those things. For the developers in house, you want to be able to maybe do some kind of custom JavaScripts, for styling, for maybe interactive styling that you want to leverage on your forecast. You can also add that, and embed that in your forecast also. Then here talks about where you can activate your forecast and you can upload the quota for each of the hierarchy that you have defined. So from a opportunity standpoint, you want to be able to tell what revenue each of your users should be able to generate at a specific time, or a specific period that you have defined in your forecast. You also want to be able to, if it is from a product standpoint, you also want to be able to define all that from a product, maybe quantity of product to be produced at a specific period that you have defined, or the quantity of product to be sold at a specific time. You can also do that, and this system also gives you a beautiful way to upload. You can download the template here. From the template you download, you can populate it and just quickly come and upload it back. Once you upload it back, this is how the Excel looks like. Just a sec, let it open. So you can quickly populate it. Once you populate it, you upload it back into the system. The system captures the data and populates it for you. Automatically, you activate this is already activated. You see your activate forecast. Once you activate it, you download the forecast template. Once you download the forecast template, you populate it, you upload it. You can even download it and send it to different, maybe territories, different department or different unit or different sales rep. Tell them to impute their quotas, collate everything, put them in the Excel sheet and upload it. Very simple. You don't need to know how to write code. You don't need to know how to, just pure configurations. Once you are done, you save it. Then you come into the system, you go back to forecast, automatically it reloads the forecast, and you have forecasts within your system, and you can do your forecast, enjoy your forecast, do your predictions. Because I don't really have much historical data here, that's why I don't even have a lot of predictions here. But you can always come recalculate your data from maybe things that have the new entries. It does a refresh, it does a recalculation based on the AI capabilities of the system to give you a better view and know what is happening with your business. So every CFO, every COO, every CEO can leverage this forecast as an insightful tool to be able to make better decisions in their business. This will come to the end of my demo. Chamaka, what have you learned so far?
So I have learned a whole lot. Like it's just been quite. In fact, I just feel like a magician right now. Sales forecasting or the forecast module in Dynamics makes you feel like a magician, being able to do a whole lot with your data, being able to say, "Oh, I know that this pipeline is going to get me to this valuation at the end of this quarter." So I
Hmm.
think it's something that makes me quite excited and enthusiastic to want to use the system. And I really thank you for how you've gone down. So, of course, a lot of this thing is going to seem like mumbo jumbo to most of the beginners, but honestly, I can assure you that it is just a function of time and practice. You get accustomed and get used to the system. And by the time you start seeing the things that you can do with the numbers that are available to you, honestly, you start feeling on top of the world. So thank you very much, Mr. Koya, for this insightful session. And I'll be looking through the comment section to see if we have any questions and any questions at all. So, Ms. Akoya, during the course of your demonstration, you had made the mention of Kanban view. So, I was wondering if you could maybe break down a bit for people who are just joining the session so that they get to understand what that is about and while still waiting for other questions.
Okay, so Carbon View helps you to be able to um, see your data from a more graphical. So we have what we call lists. You have different kind of views. You have listing views. You have maybe different kind of view. But from a carbon standpoint, you can see it from a kind of graphical look. Where you can do some kind of drag and drop, and in those views, it gives you in columns where you have defined so different sections for those data that are residing in those sections, and you can be able to maybe do a drag and drop. So for instance, I'm having a graphical look of my data. I can see those data and I can be able to say, oh no, maybe for instance, this data that I have, or this entity or this record I have here, can be moved from that section to another section based on the insight I have about the data. So it just shows you a better representation of your data, in a graphical look, and you can quickly leverage the drag and drop functionality to move those data around. So let me just quickly show you what that looked like. So let's look at this. Yeah. So this is what a carbon look of your data. So I can show them in tables, right? You can see them in tables. A lot of us are very familiar with this kind of a thing. Yes, that
Yeah.
even reminds me. Thank you for also speaking to this. I omitted this. One beautiful thing also, right? I can quickly edit my data, from here. So for instance, I know this transaction and I say, no, this transaction has moved from best case, to committed. So I can click on it and quickly say committed here, and it updates the data at real time, and moves those data in. So from a Kanban view, right, this is the way I'm going to maybe make adjustment to my data. But from a Kanban view, I can just use the drag and drop functionality to move them from one stage to the other.
Thank you very much, Mr. Koya. So I'll personally say that this kind of gives you an insight to know the customers to chase, the customers, the kind of energy to follow up with your customers. So you know the ones that you don't have to waste a lot of energy on chasing, whereas you have bigger fishes to fry. Thank you very much for this session. I really, it has been quite insightful. I've also learned a lot. And if you're just joining us, this is day three of Introduction to Dynamics 365 Sales, brought to you by Dynamics 365 Nigeria User Group. So it's been a long time learning, so we'll just take a little, just a short break so that we can catch up our breaths, get a drink of water, and also have crack some jokes. So jokes on you, man.
I'm waiting for them. Let's see.
Okay, so I'm not sure why our joke is actually joking with us, but that's all right. That's okay. I think that's part of the jokes. That is the joke. Thank you very much, guys. And okay, if you have not been able to sign up for a trial environment, it's going to be showing up on the screen so that you can sign up, so you can sign up for a trial environment. And the beautiful thing is that this trial environment guides you step by step on what to do, and that way you get to understand the system a lot better. So in the course of these 3 days, we have learned the career paths that you can find um, in the dynamic space. Omololala showed us how to those ones. You have the developer, the Dynamics 365 developer, we have the Dynamics 365 sales engineer, you have the Dynamics 365 support engineer as well. So they're kind of, if you're just a beginner, still not sure of which part of this gorgeous application suits you, you can try your hands on all this and decide to choose a part that you can grow in. So we've also gone on to learn how to manage our customers, our opportunities, and our leads. So everything and all gives us a better experience with managing our customers and as a business, giving us insights on how to on making insightful decisions. Knowing at what time to cut a chase with a client and knowing what time to impute or inject more funds into the business. So thank you guys for joining us for this 3 days. It have been an insightful and an amazing one with you guys. And until we see you again in our next trainings, thank you guys. Do have a good evening. Bye bye.
Bye.